How's it going, guys? Andy here from 4K Downtime, back at you with another news update, and we finally got our first look at Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. So how Sonic looks in this movie, and so far reception is about what I expect. Most people really don't like it, and of course you're seeing some of the image right now. And for me personally, right off the bat, I'll just say this: it's not the worst that I've seen. Trust me, I definitely imagine that it was going to look way worse than this. And what we have here is that I don't outright dismiss it straight away, but I could also see the frustrations some fans have, and even for me myself that I have. Now, the first major issue I have here is the amount of blue. There's too much blue on him, right from the start. It's like, if we look at the classic Sonic, of how Sonic is supposed to look, because this one is clearly based on his more modern design with the whole noodle limbs and everything like that. And if you've ever looked at Sonic, the way how he actually looks in the actual games, it's like you can see his skin on the arms and everything like that, and the front side, obviously his tummy and everything, as well as the white gloves and the socks, which is also missing from this version that you're actually seeing right now. His hands is actually just kind of from what it looks like, I don't know if that's just his flesh or is that actually white skin as well, because depending on if you look at the promotional pic or not, it kind of looks a bit different. So maybe they haven't finalized that yet, I don't know. But if you look at the way how he actually looks in the actual games, the only reason why you can see his flesh and the gloves and everything like that, and even have the socks, it was to basically balance out the amount of blue that he has. If you make an attempt to try to color the classic Sonic, imagine you did it in the same way as this. His arms has blue. It's not his skin color, and he doesn't have the gloves or the socks here. You would instantly notice that yes, there's also a lot of blue on here. And that's the whole point, like I said, that they've added all of these is just to break up the kind of blue. And I would have much preferred if they actually went with that with this design as well, because right now, even when you look at him as a whole, there's simply too much blue on him. His hands, all the way up to his arms, is blue. The whole forehead, much just kind of how he looks in the game, all blue. And there's just too much, there's just too much on there. And then you look at the footwear. Of course, it's by Nike, so I'm pretty sure there's some corporate sponsorship in this. I would have much preferred the kind of traditional look on his footwear, because if you look at the his original design, little history lesson here, it's Sonic's designer back then was actually a huge fan of Michael Jackson's boots, and his footwear was actually inspired by his boots, especially the ones with the belts. I would have thought, you know what, since they're making a live action version, they'll probably would have taken some inspiration from that, but they didn't. They went with just the typical Nike shoes, and it's a Nike brand. You could clearly see in the image here that it's got the Nike tick on it, and yep, as we could tell, no socks. He's not. He's basically just wearing no socks at all, and yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal breaker for me, but I would have preferred if it was more traditional in that sense. And of course, overall, probably my biggest criticism is the fact that he has a very human-like body shape to him. If you look at the games, once again, he has noodle limbs, really short. It doesn't at all look like a humanoid body shape here. So I don't understand why they went with this body type, because by having him like that in a very humanoid body shape, it literally just make him look like, and this is something that a lot of people have already pointed out, it looks like just someone who is cosplaying as Sonic, in a Sonic costume, the ones that you see in conventions and that kind of stuff. That's what it looks like, at least to me. And I don't understand why they have to make him so, not necessarily ripped or anything like that, but he kind of looked like kind of lean, kind of basketball lean, that kind of build to him. And I don't really understand why they have to go with something like this. But again, if you look at the promotional art, he looks a bit different. I will argue he looks a bit worse in the promotional art. It's, I don't know, it just again, the blue is very apparent, but with his actual model, at least it looks like how it's possibly how he's going to look in the actual game. In the actual film itself. It looks like, again, not the best representation. It just looks about okay to me. Again, can it have been worse? Of course it can. Would have been worse. I've actually imagined that it would have been a lot worse, but this isn't the worst I've seen, but it's also not great. If anything, compare this to, and this is something that a lot of people have been doing as well, is to draw a comparison between this and Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu, at the end of the day, yeah, despite the furs, like, you know, the skin texturing and like, you know, how Charizard has some kind of reptilian skins on, it's still, at the end of the day, it looks and feels like Pokemon. Essentially what the filmmakers for that film has done is just added fur and skin textures onto all the Pokemon, just to make them look less clean, like they are represented in the games and, like, you know, even in the anime as well. But in terms of their shape, their size, even just the way, the overall feel of how they look, they literally looks exactly the same as how many Pokemon fans have remembered it. But with this, they took the liberty of changing a little too much, like, you know, especially here and there, like I told you, the removal of gloves and socks and everything like that. The fact that he looks so blue, like there's just so much blue on him. And, you know, overall it's just the body proportion. It's just kind of like, I can see why people are really ticked off by it. For me personally, I would say this: if the movie turned out to be good, not great, but let's say it's just a fun movie, like, you know, to watch with overall, I think a lot of people will probably be more forgiving of the, like, you know, of the design. And still, we have to see it in action. That's the one thing that I can't really pass my judgment yet until I actually see in action, because sometimes promotional art, as well as, like, you know, just image taken off the internet, doesn't really, like, you know, represent it properly, like, you know, especially when it comes to films. So hopefully we'll get a trailer soon and we'll get to see him move about, and we'll just see, like, how he is, and then maybe we could finalize whether or not, okay, cool, does this work, does it not work? So I'll definitely, I have to wait for a trailer. So once the trailer drop, I'll definitely make a follow-up video for this. But in the meantime, guys, let us know what you think in regarding with the design. Did you like it? Do you think it's okay? Did you outright hate it? Comment below and let us know. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.